Hello, I'm Umbrenero and welcome back to Umbrenero's Life. Today's video is Painting Magic Art for My Husband, Part 5. It's been a bit since I have actually worked on this project. And as you can see, I have kind of changed up how I am doing things / where I'm slightly doing it. But we finally got back to working on this, and hopefully I do not fall behind again because I really did not enjoy being that far behind. But let's get right on into this. At the end of the last part of this, I gave a little update of how far I had gotten onto this canvas. And as you can see, I basically had the center eye done and a little bit of color put on it. But that changes here. I started going through and really working on some of the iridescent areas of this, which turned out really neat looking once I was done with it. But it is what it is. So I was going through here, trying to get done what I could, and a lot of it was just figuring out how to get the feeling of my reference to reflect, because there were certain aspects of the reference that I was having issues trying to figure out how to do. Like, if I wanted to spend like 30 hours on this one canvas, I probably could have imitated it pretty well, but I just did not want to do that. So, as you will see near the end of this video, I did the next best thing for it. I came up with something that my husband thought looked neat, and it fit. But it is what it is, and sometimes you just have to go with the flow to figure out how to make stuff work. And that's something I've gotten pretty good at, is just going with the flow to figure out things. You're gonna throw something and see what will stick. But one of the things I wanted to do for sure was I wanted to have a couple gradients, because this one is representing the islands, and the islands are blue. I wanted a nice blue gradient going through here in a couple different spots, going from dark to light, and just figuring out where that would fit really well was a slight challenge. But I just went with the flow and seen what happened. But I just kept going and doing what I could. But I figured if I got this base coat down before I really started going in and trying to figure out all of my detail work, it was going to make things go a lot easier, because I was really struggling at how I wanted some of these details to go. And here is roughly when I was starting all of those details. It's like, all right, I want to have a darker purple over this purple area. Over the yellow, I want it to be a little bit darker. And then in the whiter area, I want it to be a gray. So I just let whatever happen, because I was just letting the brush do what the brush wanted here. And yes, some of those kind of look like leopard print, and it just happened. But it's like, I didn't need to overwhelm all of the white with too much gray. I wanted to have that brightness yet. And then it was figuring out how to do some of these very detailed areas. And this canvas, I'll say this right now, The footage before I shrunk it for this video was almost 4 hours of painting. And I'll say it took a while, but it ended up having a kind of neat look once I actually got somewhere. Like, in here, I started doing this little pattern, and it's not a very vibrant color that I used here. I used a color that, if you looked at it the right way, it looked like it was melting in, and that was one of the things I wanted because I didn't want to overpower some of these sections. So I made the like spider webby look and just added it here because it was the closest thing I could do for scales. And then over this very light iridescent paint, I did something similar because I needed to add some texture here that fit those other areas that I just did. But I didn't want it to be as dark, as harsh, so I used a lot lighter of a color. And a lot of this detail work is what took so long because I was doing a lot of very small details that, as time goes, they just add up. But then this was an area where I was brainstorming for probably like 3 hours, was trying to figure out how to do the detail in my gradient areas because I wanted them to have a very specific look. Like, I tried using a stencil with paint. That did not work well. It just didn't fit. So it's like, all right, well, I have this medium blue color. I'm going to start doing diamonds. And we're going to go from there because they would give me at least the points that I was wanting. And then I'm like, well, I can't just do these diamonds because they're not going to pop out against the background. So I started putting a highlight on one side and then a shadow on the opposite side. Showed my husband, got his opinion, and he's like, that looks neat, it works. So I decided to continue with that through the gradient sections, and I'm glad I did because it brought together the light from the one side, the dark from the other areas, and you can see the gradient through it, even with having light and dark in each of the diamonds that I ended up doing. And I really like how this ended up looking. But I can say we officially have the second surrounding canvas done. Going to be working on the third one here in this next week and trying to get the third and fourth ones done because I have a lot that I want to get done here before the middle of June. So we'll see how far I can get, but I'll say this has turned out a lot better than I thought this one would. And the next one has some easy areas, but also a few little difficult spots. So we'll figure it out as we go. So enjoy watching me go through and create a whole bunch of diamonds and finish off this second canvas. So, thanks for watching, and if you could like and subscribe, it would be greatly appreciated. Again, thank you for watching, and until next time, I am Umbrenero. Bye!